All right, let's talk about one of the biggest, sneakiest threats to your financial life out there today: phishing. Seriously, this is the kind of quiet, digital danger that can completely unravel years of your hard work in just a few hours. So the big question is, how do you actually spot these scams and keep your data locked down? Well, let's dig in. This quote really says it all. When you think about hacking, you might picture someone breaking through super complex encryption, right? But that's not really how it works most of the time. It's way simpler and way more personal. The FBI has confirmed that hackers got into thousands of accounts, not by cracking code, but by tricking actual people into just handing over their login information. And if that works on trained officials, you can bet it can work on any of us. And that's really the heart of the matter. This isn't some far-off problem for spies or politicians anymore. This threat has moved right into our everyday lives. Scammers are targeting our personal finances, and honestly, they're getting incredibly good at it, with some really convincing tricks. So here's a little reality check for all of us. If high-level officials with security training aren't totally safe, then nobody is. All it takes is one successful attack, one click, one moment where you're just not paying attention, and that can kick off a whole chain reaction. And the damage? It can start hitting your credit and your financial identity within hours. So what do these scams actually look like in the wild? Well, to protect yourself, you've got to understand the playbook they're using. So let's pull back the curtain and break down the anatomy of how these scams actually operate to trick you. At its core, phishing is all about deception. The official government definition says it's basically any attempt to use fake emails, texts, or calls to trick you into giving up the keys to your financial kingdom. They're after your bank accounts, your social security number, your passwords, pretty much anything they can use to become you. Now, these attacks come in a couple of different flavors. You've got your classic phishing, which shows up in your email, usually pretending to be your bank or some company you know. But then you've got smishing. That's phishing that comes through as a text message. And these feel way more personal, right? They hit you on your phone, and they kind of bypass that mental spam filter we've all built up for email. They're designed to create a sense of urgency, to make you act before you have a chance to think. And check this out. This example shows just how scary good smishing has become. This wasn't some random generic text. The scammers somehow knew this person's vehicle registration had just expired, and they pounced the very next morning with a message claiming to be from the DMV. Think about that timing. It's a psychological game designed to exploit that little moment of anxiety. It feels so real that your first instinct is just to react and click. So why are they going to all this trouble? What's the end game? Well, the ultimate prize isn't just one password. It's getting control of your entire financial identity. And the best snapshot of that is your credit score. Your FICO score is basically a formula, and thieves know exactly which parts to hit. Your payment history and how much credit you're using, your credit utilization, those two are the real heavy hitters. Together, they make up a massive 65% of your score. And this is where it all connects. Once a scammer gets your personal info, they have exactly what they need to go after those two biggest factors. They'll open new credit cards in your name and max them out immediately, which just destroys your credit utilization. And then they vanish, leaving you with the unpaid bills, which absolutely craters your payment history. It is a devastating 1-2 punch to your financial health. And that's why this is all so important. Building good credit is what opens doors to so many financial goals. Getting a good rate on a mortgage, buying a car, you name it. So protecting the credit you've worked so hard for isn't just about playing defense. It's a fundamental part of making sure you can achieve those long-term financial dreams. Okay, so we've seen the threat, we understand what's at stake. Enough of the scary stuff. Let's talk about how you fight back. Let's talk about building your digital shield. These are the proactive things, the daily habits that can stop these scammers dead in their tracks. Think of this as your 4-step defense plan. Step 1, strong, unique passwords for every single financial account. No reusing, no exceptions. Step 2, look at your bank and credit card statements, maybe once a week. You are your own best fraud detector. Third, be absolutely ruthless about checking messages. If you don't recognize the number or the sender, just don't engage. And finally, here's the big one, the ultimate defense: freeze your credit. If you're not actively shopping for a loan, a credit freeze makes it impossible for anyone, including a thief, to open a new account in your name. But what if the worst happens? What if you do click the link or you accidentally give up your information? Look, it happens. But time is absolutely critical, and having a clear recovery plan is everything. If you think you've been hit, do not panic. act. These are the 3 calls you need to make right away in this exact order. First, call the fraud departments at your bank, your credit union, your credit card companies. Your goal is to lock down your accounts and stop the bleeding. Second, contact all 3 major credit bureaus. That's Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Tell them to place a fraud alert and a credit freeze. That stops any new accounts from being opened. And finally, file a report with the Federal Trade Commission at identitytheft.gov. They will give you a personalized, step-by-step recovery plan to get you back on your feet. At the end of the day, protecting your identity isn't about one big, heroic action. It's about a bunch of small, consistent habits. It's about making security part of your normal, everyday routine. So, looking at everything we just talked about, what's the one thing you'll change, starting today, to make your digital shield that much stronger?